Oh, no intro.
Okay, no intro. We, okay. Well, I
All
just
right.
completely forgot to start an intro, so here we are.
No worries. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Patriots Pulse podcast. I'm here with Andrew. Both of us are actually live from Mobile, Alabama, somewhere I did not think that I would ever say I'm at. But, you know, new opportunities for both of us, first time for both of us. So before we begin, Andrew, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a little cold. I'm in the shade. A lot of wind hitting me right now, but that's okay because I'm ready to talk about some of these prospects.
Yeah, we have a good amount to talk about. Andrew and I were, boots on the ground all week. Um, met a lot of people, met a lot of cool people. So now it's time to talk about everything.
All right. Well, so we're just kind of for this show, we're just gonna go down each positional group and talk about guys that we thought made an impact, and guys that really stood out to us on both teams. So
Mhm.
first off, we wanted to start with the running backs. Carlos, is there anyone in particular you that really stood out to you or anything like that?
Um, I would say the first name that comes to mind. I have the list up right here, but the first one that comes to mind is Trevor Etienne. Um, he only stood out to me in terms of. I mean, I'm not going to say that he didn't do good as a true running back, but as a receiving back, I think he did very well. His route running was on full display. He was dusting guys in one-on-ones. The linebackers could not cover him, so he's someone that's definitely on my radar if the Patriots do want to add that pass catching back. If it's not going to be Antonio Gibson, but he's someone that I genuinely feel like he stood out every single day.
Yeah, and I think another one of those guys that really stood out pass catching wise was Donovan Edwards. I mean,
Mhm.
it wasn't like a crazy week for him by any means, but he really showed. I don't know it's one on ones, but especially in the one on ones, like he showed that he can shake off a linebacker, he can shake off a safety, and that he can really be a receiving threat. And he also showed some trickery the other day. I
Yeah,
think it was yesterday. Um,
yeah.
we didn't get to see that live. I don't know where we were, but it was what was it? Was it a pitch to him, and then he
I
threw it.
believe so.
He threw
Yeah,
a touchdown to someone. Yeah, and he showed that he can be one of those guys that you can not center or maybe center a trick play around, but you know what I mean. He can be involved and he can really be a pivotal part of that, of an out of
yeah,
structure type of play.
definitely. And if we're gonna switch gears to sort of like a different type of running back, I feel like Ollie Gordon and Damian Martinez stood out in terms of just physical presence. Like those two guys are just bigger than most running backs, and they're definitely built to be workhorse running backs as well. I think they both have the skill set to be workhorse running backs. I would say that Damon Martinez stood out a little bit more to me just because he. I feel like he popped every practice. He had some good play every single practice. Ollie Gordon, I'm
Mhm.
not going to sit here and say he had a bad week, but I just believe that Damon Martinez had some more highlight plays. So it was definitely interesting to be able to watch them both up close, especially considering that they could work their way up into day two. A lot of people have been projecting them as third round, fourth round picks. I could see a world where either one of them, or even both of them, just works their way up into the second round. Um, they have that type of skill set, that type of physical structure that they could be workhorse running backs if the team wants them to be.
Yeah, and did they? What were all of the meetings that they had with running backs? I know they met with Marcus Yarns. They met with RJ Harvey. Who else did they meet with?
Um, Let me pull up the list right here. So they met with Marcus Yarns, RJ Harvey. I know David Martinez is supposed to meet with them at some point. I'm not sure if it happened yet. And
Mhm.
um, I believe they met with is it LeQuint James or LeQuint Allen? LeQuint Allen,
Mhm.
Syracuse running back. So I know they met with him as well.
Mhm. The reason I brought that up was because it seems like, at least for running back, that they've been targeting. I know you mentioned Demi Martinez. He's been a very physical back here, but
Mhm.
it looks like that they have been targeting thus far a lot of pass catching backs. Yarns in particular has had a pretty good week. I mean, he's one of those guys that he can run routes like a receiver. Um,
Mhm.
he's very versatile, and I got the chance to speak with him a couple times here, and he was nothing but business. He was very professional. He was an awesome guy to talk to.
Mhm.
Um, he had a good week. RJ Harvey as well. He's had a really good week down here, and it seems like they might be going for a specific type of back here in the draft.
Yeah, definitely, and I it kind of, hints at the type of guy that they want, whether that's going to be through the draft or if it's gonna be in free agency. Maybe they're trying to get, a younger guy into that pass catching role. It is a bit surprising to me just because I feel like Antonio Gibson is, like, the perfect running back for that just because of his history as being a receiver when he was in Memphis. So we'll see what they do. But those are two guys definitely to keep on the radar. Especially, I feel like Yarns, like you mentioned, I feel like he's going to interview very well. Like teams are going to fall in love with him pretty quickly. So I'm interested to see what happens with him.
Yeah, definitely. He's honestly one of my favorite prospects that was down here, just in terms from an underrated aspect, and I think he can really. I think he's been marketing himself really well down here. Moving
Mm.
on to the receiver corps, is there anyone in particular that stood out to you? I know they met with quite a large group of these guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say by far my favorite receiver that they met with. I mean, we were talking about it yesterday and today. I feel like Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel were my two favorite receivers that they met with. My gosh, the two Iowa State guys. They put on a show. Honestly, they separated themselves from the other receivers in my opinion. I would say Jalen Noel most a little bit had the edge a little bit over Jaden Higgins, but man,
Mhm.
Jaden Higgins, he just moves different for a guy his size.
Yeah,
He's definitely not as like built as you would expect. I'm not saying like by no means am I saying that he's like a small guy or he's not like a type
yeah.
one Thornton, for example, but he's no like I'm saying this in terms of physical structure. He's no like N'Keal Harry, like those bigger X receivers. So I'm interested to see if that's going to affect how teams view him. But I mean, if he can play off press man coverage and just his releases are really well, like how he was showing this week, I see no reason why he can't be the X. He can't be the focal point of an offense. So those are definitely the two receivers that I think stood out the most.
Yeah, Noel especially. I mean, definitely props to Jaden Higgins. Noel was a guy that I came down here wanting to keep an eye on, and
Mhm.
man, did he show out.
Mhm.
He had one really, really good catch. I think it was yesterday.
Mhm.
He just did a complete 180, adjusted his body really well in the end zone, and he caught it. Really impressive work from him. Very strong at the catch point. Also, another guy who the Patriots actually met with, Jalen Royals. He he's not like flashy quick by any means, but he just gets open. Like
Mhm.
he just gets
Mhm.
open. He fights through contact so well. Like Noel a little bit. He's strong at the catch point, and I saw him so many times cut inside and just catch the ball in a very tight window, just kind of
Mhm.
muscling it away from the DB. And I think that's a very important trait to have. And I think that's a trait that Mike Vrabel really likes in his receivers.
Yeah, and if you guys were laughing at me yesterday, I'm gonna say the comment again live on air. Royals is much more thick than I thought he would be, and I know people are
I
gonna
wasn't
laugh.
laughing at you. I wasn't laughing at you. That was
I
Zach.
know. That was Zach. That was Zach. But he's like built. Like he's a built receiver. He doesn't look like a receiver. He honestly looks like a running back to me. But he moves like a receiver, which is impressive. So if I wouldn't be opposed to them maybe throwing him in the slot. I think he would be able to take those hits up the middle and just, be able to be that high volume catching receiver. So
Mhm.
he's someone that I really like. Another receiver that I really like that I'm not sure. Well, they did meet with one of them. I was going to mention two. It's Ty Felton from Maryland, and is it Jack Betch or Beck? I've heard both this week.
I was told that it's pronounced Besh, I think.
Okay, I'll go with Besh for now. But him in particular, I no like by no means did Felton not do well, but I think Betch in particular, he I feel like he was open on every single play, every single 11 or just team drill that they did. He was wide open for some reason. He took that big like it's a no contact or it is contact, but they're not really tackling. He took that one big hit today. He didn't come down with the ball, but he popped right back up. and he just ran right back to the huddle like if nothing happened. So he's tough. Like he's not gonna shy away from contact. So he's definitely someone that I'm interested in. Honestly, I don't know if anyone's thrown this out there. Maybe I don't know enough, but he kind of reminds me of like a Puka Nakua, like that bigger wide receiver build that's able to go down the field and make those catches and block as well. I'm not saying that he's gonna be Puka Nakua, but that's just like the body build and like the type of receiver that he reminds me of.
Yeah, definitely. And another guy, or another couple of guys, I'll say, Tez Johnson,
Hmm.
as everyone else probably was. Was a little worried coming in about his size. He was what, five? He's listed at 5'9",
Five, five, 5'10",
156 pounds.
156. Yeah.
156. Okay, I got the pounds right. But he came in here and he was uncoverable. I mean, you can
Hmm.
toss that word around as much as you want, but he, like, at times he was genuinely uncoverable. And I saw someone on Twitter say this. I forget who it was, so I'm so sorry I can't give credit. It was such an awesome quote, but it was a post. They were quote tweeting a post about Johnson, and they said, "You can't press what you can't touch," and they were completely right. Now,
Hmm.
some of the routes that the receivers were running in the one-on-ones where were a little long. um, so you like to see a little bit quicker release, but
Hmm.
still, we saw many times Tez have a quick release and then just run a filthy in cut or out cut or something and just pop wide open. I mean, he sells his
Yeah.
routes very, very well.
Yeah, yeah. The one thing I will say about him the only reason I'm kind of out on him as a receiver for the Patriots is just because I don't think they need to add another receiver like of his build. And I'm not saying they have receivers of his build because he's the third lightest prospect in NFL history. Um, but I just felt like all of his one-on-one routes, the guy, he's a route runner. Like he can get open, but I feel like he had a lot of in-breaking routes as well. And if he's gonna have in-breaking routes, then he's gonna be getting lit up in the middle of the field. And with his size, I don't know how much he's going to, be able to take in the NFL. So he's a good receiver, yes. If he falls to like the fifth or sixth round, maybe they should take a flyer on him. But personally, I would want the Patriots just to pass up on him. But like I said, he is a really good receiver that could be used in certain packages. I just think the Patriots right now need guys that are going to be reliable out there on three downs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And one last guy I wanted to mention in the receiver corps was Kyle Williams.
Hmm.
I'm forgetting what school it was. Washington State.
Washington State, yeah.
Um, yeah, he is one of those guys that is a true yards after the catch threat, or yak
Hmm.
threat, at the NFL level. He's very, very quick. I don't know what I don't know if he has a 40 time officially tracked, but he's just a very agile, quick player, and he's gonna make you miss in the open field.
Hmm.
And he's another guy that has met with the Patriots. And again, these meetings are very quick. They're more not exploratory, but I mean, maybe you can say kind of exploratory, but it's more just like icebreaker meetings
Hmm.
a little bit.
Hmm.
Like they last like 10 minutes, maybe
Yeah.
15 minutes. But still, I mean, it seems like based off like Twitter posts, that the Patriots are just meeting with like everyone here when that's absolutely not the case. There's a lot of guys that have not met with them yet, or
Hmm.
as of like yesterday. So still some time, but he's another guy that the Patriots have been checking out at receiver.
Yeah. Yeah, and really quick, just because I forgot about this one receiver, Pat Bryant. Um, he we I'm not
What?
Andrew had an experience with him,
It was a
speaking
great
with him.
experience. It was a great
Mhm.
experience.
But he's done really well. He had that one play today that his on his release, like he just left the DB in the dust, but the quarterback
Mhm.
didn't throw the ball. He said it was a miscommunication. But regardless, he had a really good week. I do believe the Patriots met with him, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yeah, he.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, okay. I need to touch up on this because I posted a tweet yesterday saying, because I spoke with him and he
Mhm.
said he believed that he met with the Patriots. I posted that and it got like 20 something thousand views, and the comments were just like, this dude doesn't have his his head right? How does he just doesn't care, so and so. I understand that, like, but think about from a prospect's perspective. You're trying to show off your best abilities on the field here, as well as trying to market yourself and make yourself sound good.
Mhm.
Most of your time here is practicing, but also they have time to meet with teams. Then again, they're fairly short meetings compared to like a top 30 visit, for instance, or if they go to, or if like a team goes to a pro day or something and meets with a player. Some of these guys meet with like 25, 30, maybe all 32 teams in the span of like a day or two. That's a lot
Mhm.
to keep track of, especially if you haven't met with all teams. He did say that he thinks he met with every team, but if you met with like 28 teams or something, you're gonna have to think about what those four teams you didn't meet with are. So
Mhm.
when a lot of guys even say, I think I met with them. Yeah, I think I met with
Mhm.
them. So it's not like this crazy bad thing like these guys don't care. It's just they have a lot on their plate. And I just needed to say that
Mhm.
because I felt bad after posting that after seeing all those comments and all the
Yeah.
reactions.
But if we can move on to
Yeah.
we could actually if do you want to skip over the tight ends? Because I don't think they're really
Um,
interested in tight ends out here, to be honest.
yeah, but I will say Terrence Ferguson has had a good week, and also
Yeah,
Harold
yeah.
Fannin,
Don't forget about Elijah
Bowling
Arroyo as
Green tight
well.
end. Yes, yes. Um,
Yeah.
Fannin had a what was it? A one arm grab today? One handed
He had a
grab.
really good catch today, yeah.
Yeah, he's been the receiving threat as advertised. And Ferguson has also had a very good week.
Yeah,
Um,
and Elijah Arroyo, I would say, has been the best tight end. If I'm being honest, he hasn't been
mm,
coverable, um, and he's been a red zone threat. So who knows? Maybe the Patriots do take a shot on a tight end early on in the draft, but I do think it's going to be some sort of like late day 3 guy if they do take someone, just because they already have Hunter Henry under contract. It's just going to be a guy that they develop behind the scenes, in my opinion, and they have Jaheim Bell. So, but yeah. So moving on to the offensive line. Did anyone stand out to you in particular, Andrew?
I will say Ursuri. I don't want to try and pronounce his first name. I'll feel bad if I mess it up.
Ariante.
He's Ariante. That's what I thought it was. But I was too scared. Um, he had a really good week so
Yeah.
far. Anthony Belton has kind of just been a brick wall, if I'm being completely honest. Milam has
Mm,
had a really solid week out of West Virginia. Um, Looking here. Membu, I was really looking forward to seeing Membu, but
yeah.
he was out all week. He got the flu, I think it was Sunday. That was really
Mhm.
disappointing. Um, let's see. Carlos, is there anyone that stood out to you while I scroll through these names?
For me personally, um, not to highlight someone's negatives, but I feel like Emory Jones. I was really looking forward to watching Emory Jones, the right tackle from LSU. Um,
Mhm.
I've honestly thought that he was going to be like a top 15 pick. I thought he was that good of a right tackle coming out of the season, but he had an up and down week. He got beat on a lot of one on ones. He had some. I remember today he had like a false start during one of the one on ones as well. He had an up and down week. I genuinely thought the Patriots would maybe even think about him since they needed 2 tackle spots all season. But he looked a lot better at right guard. So I don't know if maybe his stock drops and maybe he falls, but I still like the prospect. He had an up and down week. The one guy I will highlight though is where is he? Gray Zabel. I know he's not going to be in the
Yeah,
Patriots. He's not going to be in the Patriots radar for, in my
he
opinion.
could
I
be.
don't think they're going to take a.
Yeah. Well, they
I don't.
haven't met with him yet, but he could be. He could be.
If he falls, I don't think he's going to be a second
Oh
round pick.
yeah,
I honestly think he solidified himself as a first round pick this week. I think he's going to, like you said when you interviewed him, he was all business. Like that guy is a straight football player. Like
he was
he
scary.
loves football. Yeah, like he's he's someone that, as people like to say, like he had aura, and he's someone that he's going to be in the first round. I don't think the Patriots are going to take him. I think some team's going to get very lucky to get an elite guard or center in the first round at the end of the first round. So He's someone that really stood out. He probably had the best Senior Bowl out of all the linemen.
Yeah, when I was in that scrum around him, I was just with. Sorry, there's a motorcycle. I don't know if you could hear that. When I was in that scrum, I was just waiting for him or for everyone to walk out because my questions were very like there. I had a lot of follow up questions I wanted to ask him, and when it was me and him one on one, it was like I was looking at like just a straight tower of a human, and he was like arms
Mhm.
folded, looking down at me. Like that was the most little I've ever felt in my life. But he was awesome. He was awesome to talk to.
Mhm.
He was a great guy, but he was all business.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think the Kansas tackle Logan Brown, he had a pretty solid week, I'd say. He had his struggles here and there, but overall it was a very solid week from him. He could be
Mhm.
I don't know where he's projected right now, but he could be a I think he might be a day three. I think he could be a day three option for the Patriots there.
Yeah.
Um, are we missing anyone else?
So the two guys I mentioned, actually, I just completely blanked out. Who was the guy I mentioned that had an oh, Emory Jones. The other two that I feel like had up and down weeks, but they had some bright moments. Some more than others, but I think Josh Connerly, he had that big, low light of him just getting completely bull rushed by Mike Green yesterday. But besides that, I think he had an okay Senior Bowl. He had, like I said, he had some really good moments and he had some very low moments that everybody saw online. But the other guy that I feel like had like an up and down week, but he honestly impressed me is Ozzy Trapilo from Boston College. He's a right
Yeah,
tackle, but at left tackle, he looked natural. And I feel
he
like
did.
personally, like he played better at left tackle. So I'm interested to see what they do. Maybe he's a good swing option tackle on day 3, but he's someone that I genuinely believe that he could be an option for the Patriots later in the draft.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on to the cornerback room. I just want to start off by saying Upton Stout, Western
Mhm.
Kentucky corner, great week. Absolutely
Mhm.
great week. He might push himself, maybe not late day two, but early day three, he could push himself up there. He had a
Mhm.
really good week.
Mhm. Yeah, if there was one guy I really liked, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I didn't really watch the corners that much. I was more interested in like the linemen, but
Mm.
Azare, that's how you pronounce it, right? Azare Thomas, um,
Yes.
the corner from Florida State. I think he was the best corner out here. Like he did not budge when receivers were trying to trick him on routes or sell fake routes. Like he was by far one of the most polished cornerbacks out here. So I don't think he's gonna be in the Patriots range, but he deserves massive props for what he came out and showed this week.
Yeah. Um, Louisville's
Mhm.
Quincy Riley. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't see a ton of him this
Mhm.
week. Like, I don't know if it was just where I was looking, when we were really like dialed in, paying attention, but I didn't see him a ton. But I do want to say that he has met with the Patriots, but also I feel like he can fit what the Patriots need so well. Patriots need to create turnovers on the defensive side of the ball, and he has done that so well at Louisville the last few years. 15 interceptions with I think it was like 31 pass breakups in 4 years. I think he was only there for 4 years, maybe five. I think it was four, but again, just wanted to touch up on him. Darian Porter from Iowa State had a pretty solid week.
Mhm.
Uh, Tommy Hill too from Nebraska. He had a really strong week. Zach talked to him, right? Or was it
Yeah,
no
someone said that he
Zach?
met with the Patriots.
Yeah, I think Zach Ventola. He talked to him and he said that he had a good meeting with the Patriots and that the Patriots also told
Yeah,
him that he
did
is or was
excellent.
doing an excellent job. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So who knows? That's that type of like. I'm not just gonna harp on that information and just say like, oh, that means they're drafting him. But
yeah,
if they do end up drafting him, it's like, okay, that makes sense, right? Like they really liked him during the interview process dating back to the Senior Bowl. So that's definitely a name to keep an eye on and just to keep in mind if you're a Patriots fan. Just to highlight one safety really quick, then we can move on if you want, unless you have another safety. But Billy Bowman, I think, was the best safety out here this week. His recovery speed on a lot of these routes, and just the ability to find the ball and just knock it down at any point. He's really good. Who knows? I honestly don't know where he's projected to go, but if anything, he helped his stock this week. So I think
Yeah,
he's definitely someone that you should keep an eye on if they want to go for a safety earlier in the earlier rounds.
he was everywhere. And
Yeah.
another safety who I got the chance to talk to, honestly, one of the best interviews. Sorry, my water bottle's gonna fly away. Honestly, one of the best interviews that I had here. He was the most professional, most just, I don't know how else to put it. He said all the right things, and he was just so interesting to talk to. He Here, I'll just dive a little bit deep into what we talked about. So one thing that he mentioned to me that he wanted to improve on while he was down here was the fact that he wants to improve his eyes and he wants to be quicker at the point of attack and going downhill. He wants to hit the right pursuit lanes, and he just wants to overall have better play recognition when it comes to stopping the run. I made sure to keep an eye on him today, and he did just that. He did exactly what he was trying to improve on. I think it was 3 run plays in a row. I mean, maybe they were like everyone knew that they were run plays. I'm not exactly sure how the practices like run here, but either way, he was on the ball carrier at the end of the whistle. He knew exactly where the run was going, and he did an excellent job at that. And he was also telling me what he's really been looking forward to at the NFL level is just being a sponge, soaking up as much information as he can. And that stood out to me because no one else said that. No one else said that, and that
Mhm.
is that's something that like he just said those little things that make you like really think about it and like think about him as a prospect and like overall I was just kind of impressed with him.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I do agree. I saw you interviewing him too. Like he definitely handled himself very well. He's probably going to interview very well. So whatever NFL team ends up taking him, they're not going to be hesitant about it in my opinion. But we could move on to the linebackers really quick. Do you have any linebackers that stood out? I have one. The one guy that I feel like stood out a lot was the Minnesota linebacker Cody Lindenberg. I feel like he
Mhm.
had a really good week. I believe Zach Ventola spoke to him, and I don't want to quote him wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's the one that said, "I want that green dot." That he told Zach that verbatim um, when he was just speaking to him
Yeah,
about the NFL. But that's the type of confidence you want in your linebacker, especially if it's going to be your Mike linebacker. So he's definitely
yeah,
somebody that could be going to the Patriots in the later rounds.
yeah. And I think another linebacker that really showed off his skills really well this week was Justin Barron out of Syracuse. I didn't watch him like exclusively on plays, but he was everywhere. Like he was involved with every single play. He blew up a couple running plays today, I'm pretty sure. And he was just everywhere. And he's he's that sideline to sideline linebacker that can uh well cover sideline to sideline. I don't know what I was trying to say there, but he's a sideline to sideline backer. He's and he told me that he used to play safety and he just knows how to pursue the ball carrier and he just knows where to be at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, personally, I didn't look at the linebackers that much. The only other one that comes to mind is Smile Mondon, the Georgia linebacker, I believe. Pretty sure he's from Georgia. Um, but the
Yeah,
reason he stood out to me was just because he kind of fits that mold of what the Patriots might be looking for in linebackers now. And I think he had a pretty good week. So if Vrabel seemed to like what he saw on day one and the Patriot scouts that were all out here liked him, I mean, they got an early look at him and got to meet with him early on if they did choose to meet with him. So that's definitely somebody that I think could be on their radar. Anyone else come to mind before we move on to the defensive line?
Um, I think Demetrius Knight had a solid week. Same as Eugene
Mhm.
Asante out of Auburn. He had a pretty solid week. Aside
Yeah.
from that, or we say week, but it's only been like 3 days. But aside from that, I think we can move on to the D line and the edge rushers. These two
Mhm.
groups had a lot of fun guys, I will say. Um,
Yeah.
One in particular, Mike Green. I think everyone has seen it at this point. The video of poor Josh Connerly. Green just got right under Connerly's pads so quick and just bulldozed them. Um, I mean, and
Yeah.
Mike Green was doing that the entirety of the 3 days here. I think he solidified himself as a top 15 draft pick. Um, he, he was
Or
very,
he went
very
top
impressive.
15.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm
I would go
confident about
top
that.
25.
Yeah,
I'd go top
top
25.
15.
I just feel like well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I mean,
I'm
maybe
gonna hold you to
we'll talk
that.
about it closer to the draft.
I'm gonna text you on draft night.
Right.
He's gonna go top 15. I'm gonna say, I told you so.
I would be confident in what you're saying if it weren't for so many good edge rushers in this class. Because
Yeah,
I forgot who I was talking to about it yesterday, but it's just crazy to think that guys like James Pierce aren't here. Who else? Michael
yeah.
Williams aren't like he's not
I
here.
think you're
Abdul
talking to me
Carter's not
about
here.
that.
Like
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like there's a lot of good edge rushers that are going to push these other really good edge rushers down the board. Um, we'll see. You probably got annoyed with me yesterday. I was raving about Shamar. Is it Shamar Stewart? I completely forgot. How do I
No,
forget his name if
you
I
put me
know
on Shamar Stewart. You put me on Shamar Stewart. Stewart. Oh,
it? uh, am I blanking on? No, that's his name, right? I'm like, there's so many
yeah,
guys that I've been
yeah.
trying to remember
Out
their
of
name, but
Texas
yeah,
A&M.
Shamar Stewart from
Yes.
yeah,
He left
yeah,
early.
like
He was not here today.
dude, he, yeah, he did what he needed to do. I think he looked better than expected, to be honest. In my opinion, I'm not saying Mike Green didn't play up to like Shamar Stewart's level, but in my opinion, Stewart was by far the best edge rusher out here this week. Personally, that's just my opinion. I just think that he stood out in one-on-ones. He stood out in team drills. His like physical presence is like astounding. Like just seeing him on the sideline, the dude's huge. Um, he's someone that I would love to see on the Patriots, but I do think that he is kind of like a repetitive skill set to Keon White, just because I believe he's like 280 pounds. He might be considered that tweener unless he loses a little bit of weight, but regardless, I think he looked very good off the edge. We'll see where he goes, but I think he solidified himself as a first round talent. I mean, he left early. He must have heard good things as well. So he's someone that I completely fell in love with him as a prospect this week.
Yeah, top 15.
No, too many good edge rushers.
No. Yeah, no, it is a very good edge rusher group, and that only proved to be even further
Mhm.
true here. But more D lineman side, Deion Walker out of Kentucky. I think everyone saw his measurables.
Yeah.
Like literally just in warmups, he was too fast for his size.
Mhm.
Like in a good way. Like it was scary. He like it's crazy how quick and agile he is at his size. And what was he, 6'7"?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's
343.
crazy. And he continued to do that. He did get pancaked one time. I forget who pancaked him, but that's very impressive. Um,
Mhm.
but he had a very, very good week. And there was one instance, I think it was yesterday, where it was a run play and in the scrimmages, and he pushed the center. I think he was up with the center. He pushed the center almost back into the running back to stop the play. I mean, he almost broke through the run lane, and that caused enough damage in itself to shut
Yeah.
down the run. But he just bullied him all the way back into the backfield.
Mhm. Yeah, speaking to him, like he's very, very confident, which is good. I will say he is a little bit inconsistent in terms of like effort. Like there's some plays that it's like how did he not get to the ball? And I know that sounds very simple, but it's just like if he's going to be that size, run defense is actually the thing that he's not the best at. So
Yeah,
I'm interested to see what happens if with whatever team he ends up going to. But he did tell me that he hasn't met with the Patriots, but they had come out to Kentucky previously to meet with him. So I'm not sure if maybe they met with him today or later last night, but regardless, he was saying that he wants to what's the word? Why am I completely blanking on the word? Model. He wants to model his game after Cam Hayward from the Steelers. He said that he that's his favorite player to watch, and that he studies a lot of his film, and that I had asked him like, "What do you think about playing in the cold?" And he literally said, "Man, I don't care. I'm from Detroit." So he's a really cool dude. Really, like you see him like across the room. Like the dude's huge. He also said that because of his size, he takes up a lot of space on the field. So whatever team gets him, like he's going to create that presence in the interior. We'll see if that happens at the NFL level with everyone else being so big, honestly. So maybe he's not prepared for the size of the guys in the NFL, but I do think he's going to probably be in the second round, maybe third round. He might slip, who knows? But if he slips to the third round, I genuinely hope the Patriots just either trade up for him or they get lucky enough for him to fall to them.
yeah, and I think another D lineman who has really solidified themselves as early day two pick was Walter Nolan at Ole Miss. Ole Miss.
Mhm.
He had a very very good week. Same with Jared Ivey at Ole Miss. Honestly, all the Ole Miss guys did their thing.
I was gonna say a
Walter
lot of the D
Nolan,
linemen
Jared
in
Ivey,
general had a very good week.
yeah, Princely Uman I think it was.
I'm
Is
not
that
gonna
how
try
you?
it.
Okay. All of those guys had really good weeks. Or really good 3 days so far. They've all just been a force.
Hmm.
Like I'd not say,
Yeah,
but they just been
yeah,
a force.
and not even to. I'm like we don't need to go into detail on all these guys, but like Tim Smith had some
Yeah.
good moments. TJ Sanders had some good moments. Cameron
Mm.
Jackson from Florida had some really good moments. Who else? Peebles, Darius Alexander from Toledo had some really good moments. I feel like Jamari Caldwell from Oregon, that dude plays like on a his motor is going at all times. Like he plays with a crazy intensity. He's someone that you would really want to have on your interior if you're just gonna like on a third down play, like an obvious passing play. Um, he's someone that you just want out there because he's going to try his best to get to the quarterback. So a lot of the interior D linemen had some good weeks. I think the edge rushers do. Does anyone stand out to you other than like Shamar Stewart, Mike Green?
Oh yeah, Jared Ivey, Princely, um,
Mhm.
and we talked about Mike Green.
I would say RJ Oben from
Else,
Notre Dame. What remember when we were watching him doing the warm-ups, he kept slipping on every single rep that he had, and then come team drills, like it didn't matter. You know what I mean? He his warm-ups didn't matter. The fact that he was slipping. I think he had a really good week. Uh, and one other guy that I feel like stood out, but not for the best reason, just because he was kind of on my radar. But Landon Jackson from Arkansas,
yeah,
he I don't know what happened with him. He did not have a good week at all. In all honesty, he's probably going to be like a. I could see him going to the sixth round, fifth round. To be honest, I
yeah,
personally don't think that he showed enough, and he didn't improve throughout the week either, which was interesting to see. So, yeah, I do think though that the edge rusher class and the D line class are just like that whole unit. The Patriots are going to take some guys, and they're going to get some good players further down the board because there's a lot of talent.
yeah. This is a deep class for a lot of different positions. I
Hmm.
mean, receiver is one of them. Corner. They got a couple good safeties in this
Hmm.
class. Even some of the O linemen, like
Hmm.
they have some quality day three options there. Um, yeah, is that everything?
That is the one position that we didn't even talk about, but I just want to mention the quarterbacks. They do matter just because they could push players down the board. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really
Uh,
separated themselves. It was not the best week for them.
Dy-
I was really hoping
Dylan.
Jalen Milrow. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I was really hoping Jalen Milroe would do something that impressed everyone there, but he had a lot of mistakes. In all honesty, I feel like he had that one really nice throw. I think it was yesterday. That was a maybe like a 30-yard touchdown pass, but
Yeah,
besides that, I don't think he did much to
yeah.
even warrant himself being in like the first round. So that's why I wanted to just mention the quarterbacks really quick.
I know. I'm not trying to bash him by any means, but I think in the end, Milrow going to the Senior Bowl hurt his draft stock a little bit.
Hmm.
It really like none of the QBs were really like you said, none of them really stood out. Um, I know the El Gersma, is that how you pronounce his last name?
Uh, don't ask me.
The
I'm
Canadian quarterback.
yeah,
He didn't have a
we
great
sure.
week, but he had a couple moments that were really surprising. Jackson Dart had a all right uh, few days. Riley Leonard, I'd say, would you say Riley Leonard was the second best quarterback? So I'd
So
say Dylan
personally,
Gabriel had the best week. Honestly, no, Dylan
yeah.
Gabriel did have a good week. He did have a good week.
I was gonna
His
say if he
throws,
was
his
just like
throws have
six
been on the
inches
money.
taller, yeah, if he was like
Yeah.
six inches taller, he would be, in my opinion, like a first round pick. That he puts the ball on the money every single time. Like, it's pretty impressive just to watch his accuracy live in
Mhm.
person. But just to touch on Riley Leonard really quick, I don't think he had the best week, but he's a very cool guy. Like,
Yeah.
he's a very popular guy out there too. I think his personality might help him out in terms of like leadership and like the qualities that teams are going to look for in a quarterback. So hopefully, like I said, as Patriots fans, we have to hope that some of these guys get pushed up the board so then it could push other positions down the board. Um, so that's why I wanted to mention them. But yeah, I don't think other than Gabriel, no one really impressed me. But I'm not really watching the quarterbacks too much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about pushing guys down the board, should talk about the top half of the draft. If you want to just touch on that briefly before we
Yeah.
end this. Um, so, just what are your thoughts about like the first five, like not really the first five picks, but just the top of the board, how it's going to play out? Because I know the big question mark about the Patriots pick right now is Abdul Carter going to drop? Is Travis
Mhm.
Hunter going to drop? Um, are there going to be is there going to be more than one quarterback taken in the top three? Because I mean, I think a lot of Patriots fans would love Abdul Carter at 4. I think even that in itself is a value pick in this draft.
Mhm.
He should be the number one pick. He is the yeah. I think he's the number one guy in this draft. Him and Travis Hunter. But
Mhm.
how do you see the quarterback, like the top of the draft for quarterbacks playing out?
I mean, everything coming out of like the Shrine Bowl has been positive for Shador Sanders. I wouldn't expect much negative, especially because he didn't practice. But all of his interviews have gone well, apparently. I've been hearing a lot though that Cam Ward is like miles above him as a QB prospect. So that doesn't sound too great because how would it make sense if someone that's miles above the other quarterback goes like 1 and 2 or 2 and 3? Like I don't see that happening. So I as I would hope that at least one of them does go in the top three. Personally, I never saw a world where Abdul Carter would fall to 4. I just think that he's probably the most like versatile and just um, as sure of a prospect that you can be, or yeah, honestly, when it comes to edge rushers or just football players in general, like he's definitely miles ahead of other guys. The one that I do think that might have a chance to fall is Travis Hunter, in all honesty, just because teams might be scared of where they're going to play him or not know where they're going to play him.
Mhm.
He has said in the past that he's going to play both ways no matter what, like whether it's like a little bit in certain packages on both sides, but I feel like that might push teams away and might make them think like, you know what, we can't provide that for him, so why draft him? So um, as of right now, though, going off of just what we've learned this week, um, I do like the idea of them if if it's not Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter falling to 4, I do really like the idea of them trading down a couple spots, taking anything other than O-line, and then the second round is where they target like an Ursary or a Anthony Belton. I feel like some like those guys could be there. Josh Connerly as well. I do think in the top of the second round, there's going to be some good tackles that they could choose from. In the like previously when the draft, I don't want to call it the draft season. I'll say like the off season first started. I wasn't sure how many offensive tackles would be on their radar with that second round pick, but I do think that some of them have pushed their either push the narrative out there that they should be second round picks, or kind of dropped a little bit out of the first round just because of other positions, doing so well. So I would like them to wait to take an O lineman until the second round because I think there's going to be some good options there. You're on mute.
Sorry, there's. I'm kind of staring directly at a borderline freeway right now. Not a great decision to sit outside, but um, I think that's a fair point just because I think they can hit on a solid chunk of their O line in free agency. I mean, you look at the options, um, like say they sign Trey Smith, left
Mhm.
guard, then um, they can sign Alaric Jackson too as
Mhm.
kind of like a bridge right tackle. Well, maybe he can be your right tackle, but
Left tackle. He plays left tackle. That's why I'm like,
yeah, true. But you can move him around if you want to draft your left tackle.
Mhm.
But yeah, maybe you can put him as your kind of bridge left tackle.
Mhm.
And then you still have Michael Onwenu at right guard. Um, you can have Cole Strange as your backup center. You also have Ben Brown as a backup option. Hopefully, David Andrews can come back. If not,
Mhm.
or like he'll come back. It's just a matter of how well he's going to produce.
And how healthy he can stay. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Um, Maybe they look towards free agency to figure out center.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, and then it's really just right tackle. I think Ursary can be a really, really good right tackle option. I mean, his run
Yeah.
blocking
There's definitely a lot
is
of guys. Yeah.
yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know if he can be um, like a really, really high quality left tackle. That's just going to be a for sure like brick wall in pass protection, but run blocking wise, which is really like right tackle. You want a right tackle who can really run block well, and he's a guy that can do that. That's I think the most defined part about his game
Mhm.
so far. And if he can develop in pass pro even more, that would be awesome. So
Yeah.
I think he
Yeah.
he can he can be a day two option, like you mentioned. And maybe you can have Jackson as a bridge left tackle. I mean, he's a lot better than what you've had in recent years.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And just to quickly wrap up the show, I one thing I want to say about the tackle position is that Doug Marrone was in. Well, I'm assuming he's going to be the Patriots' new offensive line coach. We're still waiting on confirmation for that. But if he is, he did work with Cam Robinson when he was in Jacksonville before they traded him to the Vikings. I know Robinson. I think he had like 12 pressures. I don't know if it was the last game of the season in the playoffs or if it was the last two games combined, but he did not have a good end to the season, but he is a free agent. And if Doug
Yeah,
Marrone worked with him in the past, if he liked him, and clearly he did like him because he was the starting left tackle in Jacksonville for a while, he could be on the Patriots' radar. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do. I like we mentioned, there was a lot of good tackles there this week.
yeah,
But definitely some developmental guys. Not there wasn't like a Joe Alt. You know what I mean? There wasn't a guy that you're just banking on his talent that he's going to be an NFL player. So there's a couple guys that they could target, see what they can do. I think Doug Marrone could develop them into really good tackles if he is the offensive line coach.
yeah. I think that's a great hire. But
Mhm.
do you really think Robinson can be a solid option? I just like what did he give up? What 9 pressure or not? How much pressures
It
did
was
he give up?
pressure. It
Or how
was
many?
I heard the number 12 a lot. I don't know if it was the
Yeah,
last two games or if it was just the last game alone, but I know he had a
yeah.
very rough end to the season. So I'm just throwing his
I
name out
don't
there just because he
know.
worked with Doug
Yeah,
Marrone.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe you could be right. Um, is that it? Is
yeah,
that all
I
we
mean we
got?
could wrap up.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us down here in Mobile. It's been a really great experience, and we're really happy that you guys took the time out of your day to listen to our show today. We'll be back next week, most likely, and we'll let you guys know when we go live again. But thank you to everyone who tuned in. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.